Picture yourself standing on the lot of a dealership. The air smells like asphalt and potential. You are looking at a machine that promises to solve problems you didn't even know you had until the marketing team pointed them out. It has heated seats, a tow capacity you will likely never test, and a cabin quiet enough to silence the noise of a stressful work week. The sticker price is $70,000. It feels heavy, sure, but the finance manager slides a piece of paper across the desk showing a monthly payment that fits, barely, inside your paycheck. You sign, you drive away, you feel safe, you feel successful. But if we look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data for 2024, the average household spends $13,318 a year on transportation alone. That is 17% of total spending. When you sign that paper for the truck, you didn't just buy a vehicle. You fundamentally altered the trajectory of your financial independence. If you had taken that monthly payment and the associated insurance costs, money that is now guaranteed to leave your account every 30 days for the next 6 or 7 years, and invested it instead, you would not just have a used truck in retirement. You would have over $1 million. This is not a video about why you should drive a beater or why cars are bad investments. We all know cars depreciate. This is about a much more dangerous economic force that the truck represents. It is the silent accumulation of recurring, fixed overheads that we adopt to numb the pain of a high-pressure life. We are going to look at why the modern household feels broke despite earning more than ever, and how time-saving conveniences quietly morph into a second rent that devours your future. To understand why a truck costs $1 million, we must understand the environment. We are living through an epidemic of time poverty. Nearly 39% of single adults are classified as time poor. For employed women, that deficit is 9 percentage points higher than for men. When you are time poor, your decision-making framework changes. You stop looking for value and start looking for relief. We trade money for ease because we have no margin left. We buy the expensive truck because the commute is an hour long. We want to feel insulated from the chaos of the world. We order delivery because the mental load of meal planning feels impossible. This creates a phenomenon we can call the monthly minimum. Every time you solve a time problem with a service, you raise your floor. Most people focus on their ceiling, how much they can earn. Wealth is determined by the gap between your ceiling and your floor. For millions of families, that floor is rising faster than their salaries. Let's look at the primary driver, the dual income trap. 49.6% of married couple families were dual income. On paper, this looks like a massive advantage. 2 incomes should mean double the savings. But in practice, the lifestyle expands to consume both paychecks entirely. Consider a hypothetical couple. The Millers. They are 30 years old. They both work intense corporate jobs. They bring home a combined $10,000 a month after taxes. That sounds like a fortune. But they have zero time. So, they begin to outsource their lives. They buy a home that costs slightly more than intended. Housing alone eats up $26,266. Roughly 33.4% of total spending. The Millers spend more for a turnkey home. They don't have time for weekend renovations. Now, let's bring the truck back into the equation. Mr. Miller is tired of the commute. He wants the truck. The payment is $900. Insurance is $200. Gas is another $300 every month. That is $1,400 a month, leaving the ecosystem. Reasonable people can disagree on the utility of a vehicle. If you are a contractor, that truck is a tool. For Mr. Miller, it is a liability masquerading as an upgrade. He justifies it by saying, "I work hard, I deserve this." He does work hard, but math does not care. Here is the calculation that most people ignore. If Mr. Miller kept his $1,400 instead, he drove a paid-off sedan and invested that monthly outflow. Over 6 years, he would have over $100,000. The real damage happens looking at the opportunity cost. If he maintained that contribution for 30 years, that account grows to roughly $1.6 million. That is the true cost of the truck. It is the decapitation of your compounding interest. Of course, life is not a spreadsheet. You cannot drive a stock portfolio to the grocery store. We have to live in the real world. Costs of maintaining a dual income household are escalating violently. This is where the monthly minimum becomes suffocating. The Millers are hit with aggressive inflation when they have children. Average annual price of childcare was $13,128. In major coastal cities, childcare costs are double the national average. Since 2020, those costs have risen 29%. What is even more alarming is the velocity of this increase. Childcare inflation is running 1.5 times faster than overall inflation. This creates a structural trap for many families. Working requires paying for childcare to pay for the house and cars. They are running on a treadmill where the speed keeps increasing. Pressure to keep the household running leads to frictionless transactions. We have removed the pain of paying for things. Average cash held dropped from $81 to $67. We do not carry cash or see money leaving our hands. We tap phones and watches to pay for everything. When you are time poor, the friction of a transaction matters. Counting out $60 in bills might make you hesitate. You might cook eggs instead of tapping a card. It registers as a distinct physiological event in the brain. Convenience costs like cleaning and subscriptions stack up unnoticed. Marcus, what is the point of money if not for comfort? Money is a tool for life, not just a high score. Hiring a cleaner might save time and reduce household stress. The distinction lies in intentional trades versus unconscious drifts. Comfort expenses become fixed obligations that strip you of flexibility. When your monthly minimum hits 90%, you are fragile. You cannot lose your job or pivot your career. You are owned by your overhead and fixed costs. Let's look at another hidden overhead: the cost of commuting. Only 10% of workers have subsidized commuting benefits. We fund our own logistics just to show up for work. The $70,000 truck is a symbol of lifestyle scaling. Instead of buying freedom, we buy a better version of the cage. We upgrade the truck instead of saving the difference. We upgrade the house. We upgrade the daycare. The gap between income and expenses remains razor thin. This depends, of course, on where you live. A family in rural Ohio faces a different calculus. But the behavioral pattern is universal. The human brain is wired to normalize its environment. This is known as hedonic adaptation. The heated seats feel amazing for 3 weeks. By month 6, you are annoyed if they are slow, but the payment remains the same for 84 months. Now, let's reset the math one more time. Suppose the Millers decide to reject the high overhead model. They keep their existing cars for 5 more years. They choose a home 15% below their limit. They meal prep on Sundays to avoid delivery. They free up $2,000 a month. That is the truck, insurance, takeout, and subscriptions. $24,000 a year in savings. If they invest that annually at 8%, in 20 years, they have over $1 million. In 30 years, it is nearly $3 million. The difference is not their salary, it is their freedom. They refuse to let convenience become a fixed cost. There is another nuance to consider: inflation. Purchasing power erodes over 30 years. $1 million is better than a truck worth scrap metal. The goal is creating a gap between earning and burning. The hardest part is not the math, it is sociology. Our culture conflates spending with success and winning. Driving an old sedan makes people assume you are struggling. Driving a new truck makes people assume you are winning. We must decouple our self-worth from our fixed costs. This is exceptionally difficult when you are exhausted and time poor. Marketing targets the exhausted with promises of a break. True relief does not come from a heated steering wheel. True relief comes from liquidity and knowing bills are covered. It comes from the ability to say no to toxicity. You do not need next Friday's paycheck to survive. We must audit our convenience spending to dismantle second rent. Ask if this is a treat or a monthly bill. News gyms and streaming services create a heavy life. You are carrying a backpack filled with rocks on a hike. Start with the big 3: housing, transportation, and food. These usually account for 60 to 70% of the average budget. You cannot cut Netflix to wealth if you drive a tank. You have to attack the structural costs of your life. Moving closer to work might eliminate the need for a car. Drive the current car until the wheels fall off. A smaller house might reduce childcare and tax bills. These are unglamorous choices that do not look good online. Nobody posts a photo of their index fund contribution. These are the choices that buy your life back. see the ghost of the $1 million in that truck.